Welcome back to another leaked hero pack video. This time we got our hands on Scarlet Witch. So we have Scarlet Witch with a threat of 2, an attack of 1, defense of 2, hand size 5, hit points 10, very nice all around. Chaos control, interrupt, when boost icons on an encounter card would be counted, discard the top card of the encounter deck, count the number of boost icons on that card instead. Limit once per phase. So this is interesting here. I love the ability, first of all, that we can, trade off boost icons. But what I'm really interested in here is the limit once per phase, because that means, at first you think, well, we're going to use this defensively. We're going to use this when the villain gets an encounter card. But limit once per phase, we're going to see that she has a lot of really good abilities that are going to fire on her turn too, the player phase. So this is really cool that we can use this not just once per round, but once per phase. So I really like this, and it's interesting to think about maybe the encounter card has too few boost icons, and maybe you want to discard it to get something that has 3 instead of 1, or 2 instead of 0. So let's keep that in mind. So very cool. I really like where this is going already. Avenger and Mystic, of course, that's expected. Wanda Maximoff, 3 recovery, that's pretty normal. Mystic again, that's good to see the trait twice. Superpowered siblings, action, discard 2 cards from your hand, draw 2 cards. Draw 3 cards instead if Pietro Maximoff is in play. Limit once per round. So this is the same thing we saw in Quicksilver. There's no surprises here. We knew this was coming. But it's still good. Card cycling is always welcome. Hand size of 6, very good. And still we have the hit points of 10. So, good. Alright, and of course we expected this. Quicksilver is her signature ally. He has 1 thwart, 2 attack, and he has action ready Quicksilver, limit once per phase. So again, this is also expected. If you know the Quicksilver pack, you know that he's all about the readying. So this is very thematic for him and welcome. He's got 4. Cost of 4 is a little bit pricey. I would have liked to have seen that as a 3, I think, would have been better. 4 health, though, does make that a little better. Limit once per phase, that's good. I like to see that. So, we can use him twice in the player phase, and then we can untap him or ready him in the villain phase to defend. So that's very cool. I do like that. And he has a wild icon resource, which is always good too. Chaos Magic. So we have 1 copy of this. Even though it's an event, there's only 1 copy of this. And it says, hero action, play a card from your hand, ignoring its resource cost. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck equal to that card's printed resource cost. And this is 0 cost, of course, because you don't want to spend cards to make other cards happen. So this is awesome. I love this. As soon as I saw this, I was like, yes, this is great. I would gladly trade 4 encounter cards into the bin for anything, like a high power ally or Avengers Mansion, or you can ramp, get your Queen Carrier for the cost of dumping 3 cards into the bin. Very cool. And yeah, I'll take that trade anytime. And again, we see the wild resource, which is good. Hex Bolt. Now this is interesting. We have 4 of these. This not very often you see that kind of thing. So we've got 4 attack spells. It's a 2-cost event. Discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. For each card discarded this way that has a boost icons equal to 0, deal 2 damage to an enemy. 1, remove 2 threat from a scheme. 2, draw 1 card. 3 plus, place a status card on a character. So let's do some just quick highlight math here. We're discarding 3 cards. So let's say we get 3 that cost 0. That's going to be 6 damage to an enemy. Highly unlikely, I know, but let's just pretend. If you get 3 that have 1 boost icon, it's going to be 6 threat from a scheme. If you have 3 that have 2 boost icons, you're drawing 3 cards. And of course, what we always expect to see these days with power creep is the 3 plus icons. And the plus is interesting too. It makes me think there's going to be 4 or 5 icons in the future. So no mention of boost abilities though, just the icons. So I really love the last one. Place a status card on a character. That is very cool. If you pull 3 of those, you could do stun, confuse, and tough. Great. Great. Very good. So of course likely you're going to get a mix of these, which is fine too. And there's 4 of these. So if if you're doing 2 cost, and let's say you do 2 damage, 2 threat, and draw a card, that's fine. That's fine. I'll take that. Or maybe you do a stun, draw 2 cards. That's fine too. No problem with that for 2 cost. So again, 4 of these in her deck. So this is really great. Molecular Decay, we have the standard 3 of these. It's an event that costs 3. It's an attack spell, so it has the attack trigger on it. Hero action, deal 5 damage to an enemy and discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, deal 1 additional damage to that enemy. So 5 base for 3 is fine. That's okay. That's like a Magic Blast with Doctor Strange, so that's fine. But I really like the discarding the boost icons, because remember, she can change the boost icons, right? So if you you whiff on this and you get a 0, use her ability, discard again, and get something better, a 2 icon, 3 icon. So let's just imagine that we have that kind of control. Then it's very likely that we can add some good damage on this. We can, of course, on average, get at least 2 boost icons on our cards. And of course, we can get 1s, but as you know, these days there's lots of 3 boost icon cards. So, and I think there's going to be more of them in the future. So this is really great. If you dump 2 cards that have 3 boost icons, that's 6 extra damage on top of 5. That is powerful. That is very powerful. And we have 3 of these in her deck. So that's very cool. And look at that art. Look at that art, man. Her eyes in the background like that, disintegrating the Sentinel. That's so cool. All right. Speaking of good art, look at this. Man, that is amazing. They're just nailing it with the art for this pack. All right. 1 cost event, Warp Reality. It's another spell. Of course, they're all going to be spells. Hero Interrupt. When an encounter card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel all of its effects and discard it. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck equal to the number of boost icons on that card. That is very cool. So that's strong. Anytime we can just dump a card and cancel whatever it was trying to do, that's always powerful. It's always going to be limited. So we have 1 copy of this. Only 1. As far as I can tell, we only have 1 copy of this in the deck. So very cool. I love canceling encounter cards. And discarding is fine. So, let's say you discard 2 boost icon, you discard 2 cards. That's fine, no big deal. She's going to be doing that all day anyway. All right, she's got a support persona here, Agatha Harkness, and she comes in for 1, which is great. That's always nice to see the inexpensive persona supports. Alter Ego Action, which is also very typical for personas. Exhaust Agatha. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 of those to your hand and place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. That's straight up card game. That's not even LCG. That's like Magic the Gathering level. So that's wonderful card cycling. Perfect. We'll take that. I love it. I'll do that all the time. Especially in this game where there's no penalty when you deck out. Definitely going to do that any chance I get. Very cool. All right, Magic Shield. We have 3 of these, which is amazing because it's an upgrade. It's a 1 cost upgrade that counts as a spell. Hero Interrupt. When a friendly character would take any amount of damage, discard Magic Shield, prevent 3 of that damage. So this is exactly like the something defense and or defensive stance. Isn't it something like defensive stance? And I'm not sure if that one is 1 cost, but it does prevent 3 damage. So this is right up that alley. It's a 1 cost upgrade, which is awesome. Discarding, or preventing, I should say, 3 of that damage. She's got 3 of them, so she could do 9 damage. And it doesn't say max 1 per player or max 1 out at a time. There's no limit on that. It's not unique. There's no limits here. You can have all 3 of these out. You could prevent 3 times 3 damage. But look at this other wording here. It says friendly character. So it doesn't even have to be herself. She can protect allies. She can protect other heroes. This is great. This is very cool. All right. Scarlet Witch's Crest. 2 cost upgrade. We have 1 copy of this because it's unique. Item, interrupt. When boost icons on an encounter card are counted, exhaust Scarlet Witch's Crest. Increase or decrease the number of boost icons on that card by 1 for this count. This is exactly what she needed. So we've already seen the cards that depend on boost icons, both positively and negatively. So she can manipulate that. So when she wants the icons to be higher, she can just tap this, increase it by 1. Or maybe we're using it defensively, she can decrease the icons by 1. This is very cool. Very cool. And I love the theme here, and I love the synergy between all of these manipulation of the encounter deck cards. This is very cool. All right, so let's go to her obligation. Now here's something really crazy. She's got two, as I think, like from what I can tell, she's got 2 copies of this obligation, because she's got 4 cards in her Nemesis set, where there's normally 5, right? I don't know. Let's take a look. But it looks to me like she has 2 of these obligations. I could be wrong. We'll know for sure when the pack comes out. But again, just keep that in mind that there could be 2 of these. So anyway, Slipping Sanity, obligation, give to the Wanda Maximoff player. You may flip to Alter Ego, that's pretty standard. And then choose, exhaust Wanda Maximoff, remove Slipping Sanity from the game, or discard the top 5 cards in the encounter deck for each star icon. There we go. Now we're seeing, I was wondering when they're going to refer to that. So whenever you see a star icon, discard it this way, place 1 threat on the main scheme. That's not really a big deal. I think either way, it's not a big deal. Exhausting is not a big deal, and the chances of you getting a boost icon, I don't know, maybe you're going to get like what, 2 at the most? Like really, out of 5 cards, how many stars are you going to get? 3 maximum? So I think that's still not a big deal either way. All right. The next evolution, the Nemesis side scheme. The increase the number of boost icons on each encounter card by 1. That's good. That's interesting. So it's going to be dealing more damage or more threat. And it's 2 per player. So I think that's pretty good. That's pretty threatening for a side scheme because, like I said, that's increasing damage and it's increasing threat as well. Plus, it's going to be messing up her, her cards that are trying to manipulate icons. All right, here's her Nemesis Minion. Luminous. 2 scheme, 2 attack. That's pretty strong. And 5 health. That's pretty typical. She's elite, of course. Force response. After Luminous activates against you, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If 2 or more boost icons were discarded this way, deal yourself 1 encounter card. Okay, well that's going to happen. That's going to happen probably like on average most of the time. It's going to still be lots of times where it whiffs, and that'll be great, and you'll be happy. But of course, there's 2 boost icons or 3 boost icons. It's very often. But again, stars count as 0. So, there is that. There is that. But I really like this. I think that's very threatening because, again, there's going to be enough times where that triggers that you're going to get that extra encounter card, and it's not going to be fun. So, one of those, of course, she's unique. Magical Suspension. This is an attachment. So, when the Nemesis comes out, the attachment goes right on to Scarlet Witch. Each card you play costs 1 additional resource. That sucks. That's pretty bad. Hero action. Exhaust your hero, discard this card. That's nothing. That's nothing. So we can definitely get rid of that. But again, it'll just come back again. But still, that's nothing. Exhausting your hero, no problem. It's a nasty effect, but easy to get rid of. Chaos Manipulation. As far as I can tell, we only have 1 of these, not 2 of these. Usually there's 2 treacheries or 3, but this one just has 1. So when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Luminous. Put her into play engaged with you. Discard the top card of the encounter deck. If 2 or more boost icons were discarded this way, she activates against you. This is very cool. This is very cool. I love when there's cards that bring back something. Bring back the Nemesis. Bring back the villain. Bring back whatever. They're very cool. I love it. Basically fetch cards. So, and I like the added text here of discarding the cards. So again, we're accelerating the encounter deck. And again, 2 or more boost icons, that's going to happen on average enough times that you're going to notice it and you're not going to like it. So very cool. I like this card. It's very threatening. All right, going into the Justice card. So she's a Justice hero, or her pack is Justice, which is something I think she definitely needs because we've seen already she's discarding so many of the encounter cards that we didn't see any native threat control in her signature pool. There's nothing in those cards that said reduced threat. on a hefty level for the amount of accelerating that she's going to be doing. So definitely I think Justice is a good pairing for her. But let's take a look at what we got here. 4-cost ally, that's again a little bit expensive. Speed, 2 thwart, 1 attack, 4 health. Very similar to Quicksilver here, just opposite stats. And Avenger, response after speed thwarts, ready him, limit once per round. So he's kind of like a, less awesome version of Quicksilver. So he does the same thing, he readies, but only with thwarting, not with attacking. But that's fine. And it's limit once per round, not once per phase. So keep that in mind as well. But that's fine, we'll take it, no problem. Crisis Averted, I believe there's 3 of these. It's an event, 3-cost event. Thwart, hero action, remove 6 threat from the main scheme. Wow, if you paid for this card using a mental resource, this thwart ignores the crisis icon. That part is, that's give or take. Sometimes that matters, sometimes it doesn't. But I really like removing 6 threat from the main scheme. When you can just dump 6 threat in one shot like that, very cool. That's definitely a multiplayer card, I would say, because in solo, you're rarely going to let the threat get up that high, especially as a Justice player. You have so many other ways to reduce the threat along the way. It's rarely going to get up that high. So I would say this is primarily a multiplayer card. All right, Swift Retribution, 1-cost event, attack, so it has the attack trigger, so that matters for stunning and things like that. The villain schemes, deal 4 damage to the villain. So this is like a toe-to-toe, basically. So same cost, it costs 1. You let him scheme, and then you deal 4 damage to him. I really like this, because if you've been watching the channel, you know that I like aggressive Justice builds. I like the damage cards while I'm playing a Justice hero. So this is very cool, and I'm definitely going to use this, because, yeah, 1 cost to deal 4 damage. I'll let him scheme. I'm Justice. I've got a million ways to reduce the threat, so I don't care. No problem. Love it. All right, Turn the Tide. I believe there's 3 of these as well. 0-cost event, always good to see. Attack, so it has the attack trigger. Response, after your hero thwarts and removes all threat from a scheme, deal 3 damage to an enemy. Now this is very cool. 0 for 3 is some good economy. That's some good math right there. So again, but it is situational, so you're going to be holding on to this until that moment comes when you're going to clear a side scheme or clear the main scheme. So, but you can totally control that. So I think this is a fantastic card, and it's going to get used. Definitely going to get used. I'm going to use it. All right, we have another ally. 2 cost, that's what I like to see. That's better. So 2 cost, 3 health, that's fine. 1 thwart, 1 attack. All right, that's what you expect for a 2-cost ally. Response, after Wiccan thwarts, discard the top card of the encounter deck. For each boost icon discarded this way, deal 1 damage to an enemy. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, sure. I'll thwart for 1 and maybe do 3 damage at the same time. So, you pair him with Scarlet Witch. She can control the encounter card icons, so she can increase the damage that he's doing. That's very cool. So I like this. Again, on average, you're gonna get something. You're gonna get a 2, a 1, maybe a 3 if you get lucky. If you have these heroes that can look at the encounter deck, even better. Okay, very cool. Multitasking. I think there's 3 of these as well. Thwart and remove 2 threat from a scheme. If you paid for this card using a mental resource, remove 2 threat from a different scheme. 1 for 2 is okay. That's basically clear the area level. And using a mental to pay for it is pretty normal in Justice. Nothing special there. Remove 2 threat from a different scheme. That's kind of situational, but I like that you can do that. If you can spend 1 and remove 4 threat, that is very good. That's also some good economy and some good math right there. So again, a little bit situational. You want to just hang on to this until there is that side scheme out, and perfect. Or you take this into Wrecking Crew and just go to town, go to work. Good card. I like it. So we have 1 of these. This is the signature team up card for Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. They both have a copy of this. 1 per deck. Hero Interrupt. When a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel its when revealed effects, deal 2 damage to the villain. Again, we talked about this in Quicksilver. We love it. Anything that lets us cancel nasty game-ending effects, Perfect. And sure, why not? Let's deal 2 damage while we're at it. Another basic card, 0 cost event, very good. Spell, play only if your identity has the Mystic trait. I love to see this. I'm so happy to see other tribal cards besides Avengers. So I'm really looking forward to like the day people can make like purely Mystic decks. It's gonna be great. So anyway, let's see what we can do. Action, draw 2 cards. Choose and discard 1 card from your hand. This is an event. If this was an upgrade, of course, that would be awesome. But I'd even pay more than 0 for that. But this is a little bit tricky because you're paying, it says 0 cost, but you're paying this card. So you're paying 1 card to draw 2 more cards, that gets you 3. And then you're going to discard 1 card. Now the good thing is you're discarding it from your hand. You're not discarding one of the 2 cards that you drew. Sometimes they're a little bit sneaky like that, but that I like. So basically if you have 1 junk card in your hand and you have this card, you're going to play this, get rid of the junk card, and you got yourself 2 more cards that are hopefully better. So still good. It's still a good card. Recuperation, 2 cost event, alter ego action, heal damage from your alter ego, equal to your recovery. Now this is good. When you just look at this on a basic level, it's not really worth it when you have a recovery of 3 and you're going to pay 2 to do that. That's not really good healing. But, you know, think about how many heroes have recovery 5, like Ms. Marvel, or recovery 4, like Captain Marvel. So those heroes are going to love this. And anybody who plays a downtime, you know, some people don't like downtime, some people do. I don't mind playing downtime. So if my recovery is somewhere along the lines of 7 or 6, I'll pay 2 to heal that in the right moment, in the right circumstances. Why not? Again, it's not like something I probably wouldn't put 3 of them in my deck, but you know, you might put it in as a filler. All right, aggression card, 3 of these, 2 cost event. Attack, play only if your identity has the Avenger trait, so we've seen a lot of that before. Hero action, attack, deal 2 damage to the villain, deal X additional damage to the villain to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. That's cool. That's cool. You know, we've seen a version of this card as well in another aspect, so very cool to see it here. 2 for 2, of course, is terrible. That's never going to get played, but deal X amount of additional damage to the villain, where X is the stage number. So again, I always play in expert mode, except when I'm playing for the league, but outside of that, with my play group, it's always expert, so that means it's at least 2 or 3. So now we're looking at 2 for 4 damage, which is fine. That's better than a Haymaker. That's better than a lot of other things. But maybe we can get 2 for 5, and that's very good. That's some very good math and very good damage. So I think this is a great card. And for expert players or heroic players, you're definitely going to love this card. All right, and we have leadership, 0 cost event, last stand, tactic, that's good. Hero interrupt, when an ally you control attacks, it gets +3 attack for that attack. After that attack resolves, discard that ally. Okay, so this is basically like Goliath. This is the ending of Goliath where he just explodes. So this is very cool. What I really like about this is not only the fact that it's doing big damage. So, you know, like, let's say, for example, you put on someone who has high attack, like Wonder Man. You know, Wonder Man comes out for 2. You use him a couple times. Then his last turn, you pop this, and he's doing 6. So that's cool. But what I like about it is that you discard the ally. So this is, I think, the designers trying to steer us away from the typical leadership swarm wall of blockers strategy that's been dominating the game for forever, basically since the core set. So this is very nice to see. We saw with the leadership attachments that they're trying to steer us in the direction of keeping allies alive, and I like that. And now we're seeing again steering us away from ally blockers. This is very cool, very cool. I like to see anything that's changing, shaking up the meta a little bit. So very good. I like this, and I'll definitely use this for sure. Why not? Extra 3 damage for 0 cost, no problem. And the last one is protection. 1 cost event, bait and switch. Hero action thwart, so it has the thwart trigger, so confusion will matter. The villain attacks you, remove 4 threat from the main scheme. All right, this is again toe-to-toe and just like the other one that we saw. So the villain attacks you, no problem. We're protection, we don't care about that. Remove 4 threat from the main scheme. This is great because this is something that protection is desperately needed. Some ability to thwart. We've had to like put in all the neutral allies and to try to compensate for that. All we had was like Black Widow, you know, maybe Brother Voodoo, but that's it. We didn't really have any strong threat control. So this is very welcome, and I think a lot of protection players are going to be playing this for sure. Definitely. I will. All right. That is it. Awesome. So that is the Scarlet Witch pack. I really like this idea. I like this theme. I was a little hesitant about it when I first saw it because I thought, oh my god, we're discarding encounter cards like crazy. There's going to be acceleration tokens coming out of their yin-yang. But again, you need to have some kind of threat control package with her. Justice sounds perfect. Or you need a buddy or a partner who's going to be controlling the threat for you. But she does have natively 2 threat. And something I didn't consider at first, but I thought about it recently, is I'm kind of okay with discarding encounter cards, because what's going to be dumped into that discard pile is all the nasty stuff. You know, Shadow of the Past, Advance, Gang Up, you know, Obligations. So sometimes it's okay to dump cards because those cards are going to be flying by and there's less chances of you hitting those. So I think that's something we need to consider as well, is there's a little bit of a bonus advantage in what she's doing. For the cost of what? An acceleration token? Again, if you can control the threat, I think Scarlet Witch is going to be awesome. And she has lots of tools for controlling boost icons anyway. So great hero. And I think it'll be really crazy to see her, definitely to see her paired with Quicksilver. Man, it's gonna be nuts to see these two paired up. So great pack. I've got mine pre-ordered. I hope you do too. It comes out in March, and I'm looking forward to it, guys. So hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.